Hey friends, it's Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, back for another rip-roaring video. And this is episode, here we go, number.
Okay, you're so left brain and mathematical.
I am
What's a perfect number?
7.
That's the first number of the episode.
I know we're in our 70s, so yeah.
Add 1 to the perfect number.
8,
So,
78. He's getting more and more creative.
I'll have to make it more algebraic next time.
Yeah. I liked math until they started adding letters. I could handle N, but once it got where it was more letters than numbers, I was out. My son, when he was in college, he was playing baseball, and we would go down and go to the games, and we'd take him out to eat, and he'd say, so this is what I'm learning in, Calc 4 or whatever. And he'd sit and do a problem. I'm like, that's not math. Those are all letters. How are you? I'm good. I'm a year older. Survived my 71st birthday on Monday. Anyway, lots to talk about, a little bit to show. Last weekend, well, actually, I left on Wednesday the 7th, came home on the Sunday the 11th. I went to the Quilter Station retreat in Kansas City. It was actually in Independence. Quilter Station is a quilt shop that carries cross stitch as well as wool applique, and that's actually in Lee Summit, and those are both suburbs of Kansas City. So, got to see some friends, got to meet a lot of new friends, and there were 5 designers plus a special guest, and so it was wonderful. If you haven't watched Pam and Steph Just Keep Stitching, they did a really good wrap-up of the Quilter Station retreat because they were there, as well as Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch and Marlene Stitching by the Lake. It was just good to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a while, and so that's part of the fun of retreats. And I kind of have mixed emotions about talking a lot about retreats. It can be hard to watch if you're like, oh, I wish I'd have been there. I'm a little jealous, then it's kind of like, I don't want to know about it because I don't want to know what I missed. But on the other hand, it's fun to see what other people experience. So I'll try to give a little wrap up of that and the kits and all that good stuff. But first I thought I'd talk a little bit about my what I've been stitching. 2 weeks ago, when I did my video on Labor Day, that was not a happy day because on that Friday prior, I had spent over an hour doing a video just to find out that it just didn't take. So hopefully there won't be any issues with this one, so we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm not putting anything away until we know it's good. Or viewable. Who knows if they're good. I do want to thank everybody that was at the retreat. I had so many kind people come up and tell me they watch my videos, and it's a little overwhelming for me because in my mind I'm just a stitcher just like everybody else, but somehow this everybody knowing you is just a little odd for me. Anyway, what have I been stitching? So I didn't go back and watch my last video on that Labor Day. And the reason I was mad was because I had already put everything away. It was over in my mind on that Friday. And then to have to redo it on Monday, there were things I left out, things I didn't talk about that I wanted to talk about. So hopefully today, and it is Friday, by the way, it's Friday the 16th of September. Hopefully today, everything will go well. So ever since my last video, I didn't have any Sunday stitching because on Sunday, this past Sunday, I was flying home and I don't even think I did any stitching that day. So anyway, but this is my normal Sunday stitch. His Eyes on the Sparrow. I got it out because I thought I had a Sunday that I stitched on it, but now that I think about it, that video was on a Monday, so I would have already shown you this. But this is where I am on His Eyes on the Sparrow. Hopefully soon I will finish at least the top half. It's not really half, but the top portion, and be able to move on. This is by Heartstrings Samplery, Beth Twist. And I did have a winner for that giveaway for the pattern. That was Heartland Stitcher. She has contacted me. That'll be going out in the mail very soon. Which also, just a plug, I wanted to tell everybody that bought quilts from me, for me to finish. I have one more to quilt, and then that one plus one other one to bind, and then they'll all be going out. So hopefully by the beginning of the next week, everything will be in the mail if you bought a quilt from me. I haven't forgotten about you. Anyway, that pattern is His Eyes on the Sparrow. And I'm doing it on 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus with the called for. So I'm hoping that I can get that top portion done this coming Sunday. So that's one of the things I did not stitch on, even though it said that's the things I've stitched on. So the next thing I stitched on is, I took this one to the retreat with me, even though it's big, but I took it to the retreat with me because I had some areas, it's sort of like coloring, like you do an outline of a flower and then you just fill in. So I had things I could fill in, and that is my Jane Atkinson by The Scarlet Letter. If you look up Scarlet Letter, and we'll put it in the description box, there's only one T in Scarlet Letter. So this is Jane Atkinson by The Scarlet Letter. I got this lovely needle minder as a gift. There were so many people giving out gifts. Some of that I'll show, but most of it I probably won't show because some things would just appear at my table. So Jane Atkinson, I am using Nivera Soie Silks. And one of the comments that I got a lot when I was sitting stitching, because I did work on it during the retreat, was that people were so impressed with the colors. They said it just doesn't show up as well, or you don't see the true beauty of the colors until you see it in person. So this is my Jane Atkinson. And I was able to do a lot of fill-ins. So I filled in this, I filled in a couple petals on this. I started this, filled in this, 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 and this. So this whole section I basically had outlined, and then I started filling in. I kind of want the sides to come down about the same. You know, I don't want to be a head on one side. So I've also started, let me see if I can see what you're seeing. I also started outlining over here so that I can be filling in on that side. This is 40 count lentil by Lakeside with those called for Nivera Soie. So thank you to everybody that stopped by my table and made a comment. They all thought it was really pretty, and the colors were just stunning. So I did work on that at the retreat. There were 5, I'm just gonna intermingle because this is just my rambling. That's what I tell everybody. You're just listening to my rambling. I don't make notes, I just talk. If you like it, fine. If you don't, move on. There's a lot of other floss movers out there. Anyway, at the retreat, there were 5 designers plus a special guest. So each designer would give out their project. Some people chose to go ahead and work on that project. Other people chose to work on whatever they brought, which is what I did. And the designers were, all of them said, if you want to work on this, you can work on it. If you want to take it home and work on it when you get home and just work on whatever you brought, that's fine too. So there was no like class. You had to sit there and work on exactly what they gave you as a kid. Didn't happen that way. Which I like that type of retreat. And most retreats, it's just hard for me to do a start when you're got people talking to you or you're up and visiting with other people. I don't have the concentration. Or if I'm just doing fill in, like I talked about, then when I sit down for 10 minutes and I can fill in and then I'm good. That's my crazy brain. The other thing I worked on when I got home, and I'm still a little beside myself on this one. I love this piece. It's from the, I think somebody corrected me, said it was Hazelmere Museum, but it's Mary Gibson, 1824. It is a PDF. If you go to this museum, and I put the address in my last video in the description box. If you go to this museum, you can get a PDF of this chart. It calls for DMC. I tried to do my own silk conversion. Wasn't really happy with it. Since then, somebody, I don't know who, gave me an NPI conversion. Not totally happy with that. So this is one that I'm just kind of gonna go with it. And then just as I get to a color, I may change it, which is really scary because you could end up with a big blob at the end. But this is where I am. I finished the outer borders, the outline of the outer borders. I didn't have those all the way done. And I started on some of the words. This is one that I guess in kind of old English, they sometimes interchanged F as in Frank, F, and S as in Sam. So in the same word, there could be what we think of as an F with an S. So for example, on this, it says, right, let's see, where is it? On this top line, it says dross, D-R-O-S-S, but it looks like D-R-O-F-S. So you kind of have to know that when you're doing these. The only thing, see, like this is an F, and this one is an S. So the one that looks like an F, but it's really an S, does not have the little line across like this one does, right here. So anyway, I'm working on the words. I have gone on Pinterest and I found somebody that had finished this and it looked very patriotic. So it was a lot of red, blue, and I don't really want that look for this. Now you can see there's also a lot of green, so I'm really making sure that the green shows up. So these are the colors, these are the NPI colors, and there are a few like light blue that I'm gonna end up subbing this gray, kind of a silver gray blue. So I don't wanna give anybody the conversion yet because I don't know what it's gonna end up with. So I did work a few nights on that, which by the way, it is sampler September sampler. If you're doing a more modern sampler, it's sampler September is the hashtag for Instagram. If you're doing a reproduction, then it's September sampler soiree, S-O-I-E-R-E-E, soiree. So I kind of felt like, okay, I need to settle on something because for the rest of the month, I threw out the idea of doing 5 samplers for 6 days or 6 samplers for 5 days. I just need to settle on something. When I'm doing a reproduction sampler, this is just me. Call me crazy. I won't even hear you if you do. I get to a certain point where I kind of am all in. Does that make sense? It's like I start to know the symbols by heart. Okay, that round circle is number 502 or whatever. And I feel like I'm really, I don't know that I feel like I'm bonding with the girl. I'm not in my chair talking to some girl from the 1800s, but I do feel like I'm just like finally into the sampler. until I get to that point, I'm just kind of stitching. And I know eventually, when I'm working on a sampler, it'll get to that point. Every one that I've ever done, I get to a point where it's like, okay, now I'm into it. I'm all in. I want to work on it either in the near duration or till it's finished. So that happened. And I've shown you, every time I show you this, I'm gonna show it again. This is Jane Cowie. I finally decided, okay, enough's enough. I started this in September of 2020. It was released that year at Market, and I love this. I love this. So it's Jane Cowie. It's by the Scarlet House, Scarlet with 2 T's. And I love it. And I love the colors. So what's the problem, Carol? Well, it does have a lot of over 1. You can see that. I'm going to try to do some over 1 as I go. I'm gonna try. But I'm into it now. And I'm using the called for NPI, NPS, that stands for Needle Point Silk. These are the colors: olives, corals. This is going to be beautiful. Okay, so when I stopped last night, I literally stopped in the middle of a stitch. So you're gonna have to just kind of bear with me here. So here's what I worked on. Here's my piece. And here's what I worked on. So I finished the grass, the fence, and the trees on the 2 bottom houses. One of the houses I had part of the grass finished. I guess that's a fence. The other one I had all of the fence finished. So I finished the fence on both, added the trees, and then I did the bird above and the other bird on the other side. You see that? Yeah. So that was fun. Then I started to be like, okay, I'm into this now. Ding, 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 the bell has rung. I'm into this sampler now. So then I started filling in for the flowers, and they are 3 different colors. And then these top leaves here on the border, can you see what I'm, right here. Those are also 3 different colors. So there's a lot of starting and stopping. You know, I'm not gonna carry a thread from here to here. Maybe the little girl did, who knows? But I decided I really am into this, but there is a lot of starting and stopping. So if you do 4 stitches, then you tie off, then you do another 4 stitches and tie off. It's just a little bit, takes a little bit longer. And then I started on this band. I guess, what are those called? Honeysuckle, maybe? This band here, excuse that thread hanging down, because that's a basket that I've started right there. So I've started these honeysuckle, and each one of those ins and outs of that band is gonna have a honeysuckle on the top and the bottom. This one is not missing. Don't tell me, because that's how it started. I always get people that say, you missed this, you missed that. Thank you. I do like to know if I missed something, if it's before it's framed. Don't tell me after it's framed, because then it's gonna bug me every time I look at the piece. Which, by the way, hopefully the next time I will have a little bit more fall decor. With going out of town. So when I got home, my birthday was Monday, and I got home Sunday late afternoon and left Kansas City. It was 60 something degrees. It was beautiful, but it was actually a little chilly. I didn't have a jacket with me. Got on the airplane, had a layover in St. Louis, got home, got off the airplane. It's like, oh, it's 90 degrees. Back to the humidity, back to Florida. But on Monday, I think I slept away my birthday. I did absolutely nothing except take a couple naps, and I did a little bit of stitching, so anyway. Okay, so I don't know what to show you next. I guess next, since it's Sampler September, I will show you a few things that are on my radar. Now, am I gonna finish Jane Cowie by the end of September? Probably not. Am I gonna keep going on Jane Cowie? I sort of want to. But then October rolls around and I wanna stitch fall. I have some fall whips, but for some reason there's a couple things that are calling me, sorry for the crinkling, that are calling me that I have kitted. This is one of them. This is the Addams Family by Plum Street. It's adorable. It's just adorable. Now it has a flag, so I'm thinking the Addams Family is, yeah, it is, John and Abigail Adams. So it's a little play on the Addams Family, remember the TV show, and then the Addams Family being the 6th president. So I have that one kitted. Let's see what I have that kitted with. I think this is an R&R, and it's probably what it calls for. Ligonier Latte. And then I have the called for threads. Not on a ring yet. So I have that one. I also have this one. Oops. Autumn Fractor, which is also by Plum Street, and it's also on Ligonier Latte. I have this one, also by Plum Street, Autumn Eve. Love all those white pumpkins and the sheep. And this one, also by Plum Street, Autumn Eve. So that could be start in October. I also have this one, which is by Carriage House. Carriage House, Kathy Barrick. Hello from Liz Matthews. There's Marty, there's Kathy. Both are Marty Barrick and Kathy Barrick. And then there's Liz Matthews, who's Kathy's daughter. So Hello from Liz Matthews is a complete separate chart designer name. Did you get that? Where Marty Barrick is now Carriage House, but a lot of the Carriage House were actually designed by Kathy. So I don't know how it all works, but anyway, this is Fall's Gifts by Carriage House. Just love those pumpkins. How cute are those? Look at the people in the pumpkin. Instead of black, I'm going to be doing this on a piece of something that's kind of dark. What is this? Chestnut. And I have the needlepoint silks. Chestnut by Weeks. Because I think the brown would look good too. I don't think it has to be black. Then this is one that I've wanted to start since it came out. Somebody at the retreat was stitching on this and it was so gorgeous. Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. And this is by Kathy Barrick. Love this. This is not for the faint of heart. This one's fairly big. And this one I'm actually stitching on a piece of 40 count Thrift Store Breeches by Kitten Stitcher. I don't know if this is something she regularly has in her line, but you know, it's a gray. It's a little darker than it's showing up in the, let's go with. And with that, I have it all kitted with the NPI silks. Again, a lot of these beautiful corals and oranges and browns and kind of celery greens. Just love it. There's another one by Plum Street that I thought I had gotten out, but I guess I didn't. And it's called Jack's Bash, and it's Plum Street's Halloween one. I'll show it next time. I haven't started it, but it's another one that I would kind of like to start. And it is, it's that Rhode Island style sampler, like some of her patriotic ones. You know, where it goes around, you know what I mean? As we used to say, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Okay, where am I here? Here's some other samplers that I've like, as if I'm gonna finish Jane Cowie. Okay, please, that one. This is Hall, so that didn't go there. I'm just gonna show you a few things. So Lisa Kindred Stitcher, she stayed true to her suggestion that she was gonna start this for Sampler September sampler. This is by GGR, and this is called the Rose Wreath Sampler. I have it all kitted. She started hers, I haven't started mine. I have it kitted with a piece of 40 count parchment by Weeks with the called for cotton, overdyed. GGR generally designs with overdyed cottons rather than silks. But I'm sure the attic could get you a conversion. This is another one that I have partially finished, and this definitely will be a November stitch because this is the Scarlet House Hannah Tingy. I have a good portion of this finished, but not near enough to call it close to being finished, done. And this is where I am. I've shown these all to you. Don't you remember? Oh. So I have enough of it finished that I really need to get on it and get it done. I mean, I have the house finished. So I need to finish this band that goes across here, obviously the over one, and then these down here. Because all the flowers, I have all the flowers all the way around finished. Strawberries, flowers, whatever. Those are all done. So definitely in November. I've been like planning 6 weeks out, 7 weeks out, whatever. Another sampler I would love to work on. I actually put a few stitches in this, I think. Let me see. But I'm not calling it a start. This is by Needlework Press. This is the Mary Argent sampler. I think I saw Rachel from Needle and Flax. I want to say she had started this. And these are the colors. You know, the actual picture looks like it's a little dull. But then you have these pinks and this, I mean, oh, that's red. Shows up orange. How bizarre is that? But it's red. Anyway, that one is Red Rocks. So you have some really pretty colors, and I'm doing it on, this was a kit originally from Country Sampler. But it's called the Mary Argent Sampler Be Humble. You might still be able to get this from Country Sampler. And this, I usually go down, so this is my meager start on that one. Yeah, I was going down. Big piece of linen. I think this is Cocoa, maybe, by Weeks. Well, let me just see. Oh, it's straw. It says it's straw. Maybe. It looks a little darker than straw, but straw's pretty gold. I'm just lying. Just making stuff up as I go. But that's not a whip, okay? I just want to make sure that you know that's not a whip. That's just a start with a few stitches. So that would be nice to work on that. I have this big, these are my Scarlet House Wanna Stitch. I'm gonna go through this really fast, okay? So, it may not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It may be just be 1, 2, 3. I'm not gonna take them out of the plastic. This is by Scarlet, they're all by Scarlet House, okay? So I'm not gonna say Scarlet House each time. The rules. This is Mary Ann Farmer, 1834. Kitted. Love that. This is Susan Wasband, Adam and Eve sampler. Kind of hard to read, but Susan Wasband. That one's only 219 by 205. Piece of cake. Ay, ay, ay. This is Entwined Hearts. I'm not sure if this is a reproduction. I think this might be an original design. But I saw it being stitched on 46 count. Somebody was stitching on it at the retreat, 46 count. I have it kitted with 36, and it calls for the, what's it called? Aztec Red Linen by Weeks. And I'm thinking about switching to 40 or 46 because it was so cute and petite. This is one that was recently a, through the Homespun Samplers Cross Stitch Facebook group from Shepherd's Needle. And this one is called Sampler for All Seasons. And I got mine kitted with an NPI Silks. This is Mary Miller. Love that horse. Colors on this are kind of cool. This is another one that I have a teeny weeny start. Mary Miller. Another one is Isabella Jackson. Not pretty. Sorry, that glare is kind of bad on that one. Love those pots of flowers. 202 by 217. Yes, I'd like to have all of these finished, framed, hanging on the wall, hanging from the ceiling. I could wear them like a, what they used to call that, a sandwich board, you know, Eat at Joe's, one in front, one in back. This one was a Threads of History kit from Country Sampler. May still be available. Jane Charlotte Wynn, 1835. Love that White House. I think this asymmetrical is kind of interesting. Those are the colors. This is just Scarlet House. I have a problem. Let's see. Janet Barr Slater. This came out at Market. I really want to start this one. This is probably really high on the list. It's a lot brighter. If you look at the colors, it's a lot brighter than it looks in the picture. Like you can't really see even that much red on this, but I know it's there because it's one of the colors. This one's Janet Barr Slater, 1853. And I have a couple other patterns in here, but they're not kitted. I thought there was one more, hold on. Oh, two more. This is Mary Rowe. This came out quite a while ago. I think this one's beautiful. Has some eyelet stitches on this little Mary Rowe, 1808. Beautiful. I love that guy and that gal. Excuse me. And then there's Roses for Ruby. Somebody just finished this. Roses for Ruby. Another beautiful one. And this is on Hog Bristle, or it calls for Hog Bristle by Fox and Rabbit. I have a couple different pieces of Hog Bristle, and a couple of them are a little darker than others. So that's not necessarily a Scarlet House Parade. I just wanted to show you a few of the samplers. And I love Hands Across the Sea samplers. They're beautiful. I just feel like for me, Scarlet House tick all the boxes because they tend to be a little bit more muted, or obviously Jane Cowie's not, because Jane Cowie has some pretty bright colors. Hold on, if I don't put some of this back in this overstuffed bag. Okay. Okay, next I'm going to talk about the retreat. No. Yes. No. Next, I'm going to show you some samplers that I finished but not framed. And the reason I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to talk about the retreat at the end. So if you don't want to watch about the retreat, if you get envy, I get it. But we can't all go to all retreats. I wish I could, but I can't. I mean, unless you're independently wealthy. I don't know Stitchers that are, but I'm sure there's some of them out there. But it's just, you know, for me, it's travel plus hotel. So then you add the cost of the retreat, any fun purchases you want to, you know, it just, and sometimes you might have to rent a car. It all gets pretty pricey. But so before I left for this retreat, I told my husband, I said, I don't think I'm going to go to any retreats next year. And he goes, why? I said, well, they're expensive. Da, 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 da. I came home. It's like, okay, they're having one in April. I can't wait to go. I'm going to sign up. Craziness. Okay, so first I'm going to show you samplers. I'm pretty sure you've seen all these, but sort of like the framed ones I showed last time. If you've seen it, just ignore me. Okay, I'm hoping this works. Okay. And yes, do I want all of these framed? Absolutely. Am I going to do it gradually? Yes. Like my husband said, sell more quilts, Carol. So this is, some of them I have to look at what they are. Oh, this is Mary Good by, is this by GGR? Yeah, I think this is by GGR. Mary Good. I could be wrong. Could be Sassafras, Sassy Jacks. Anyway, Mary Good, the Pepto people. So that one's finished, needs to be framed. This is Elizabeth Hunter, Scarlet House. I don't remember the linen colors. Just Elizabeth Hunter. This is the Little Red Chair sampler by Scarlet House. This is Miss Manners. This is definitely by GGR. I remember that. Miss Manners. Most of these I use the called for colors. Elizabeth Manners. This one is by Blackbird. We Welcome Spring, something like that. has the word spring in it, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I know you're all yelling at me. By Blackbird Designs. This is Elizabeth Watt. This is by Milady's Needle. This one's kind of big, so I'll hold back. Elizabeth Watt by Milady's Needle. This is on, or at least it was, the model is on display at the attic. This is the 7 Sheep sampler, also by Scarlet House. This one I know is on 46 count Autumn Gold by Lakeside. It's a double dye. And I use the Averiswa silks, which were a little tight, but I love how it turned out. 7 Sheep. The colors are a little funky, but I love it. This is Sarah Casey Unwin by Chessie and Me. She actually had this at the retreat at her trunk show. Not mine, hers. Sarah Casey Unwin. There's some. You can also do, there's a separate chart for just the top with that basket. This is the ES Spot Sampler, originally by Of Female Worth. You can now get it through 1884 Stitchery because she reproduced this wonderful out of print chart. It's a lot of red, it's beautiful. There's no over 1, however, the ES in the middle there is the 4-sided stitch. Let me see if I can get it where it is, right above that flower. See, ES. This is Charlotte Clayton. This is a museum piece. The museum name escapes me, but Charlotte Clayton. This one's on 36 count Meadow Rue because I wrote it right there on the selvage. This is Charlotte Frost. This actually came out the same time as Jane Cowie. So I finished this one. I need to finish Jane Cowie by the Scarlet House. I didn't finish this one too long ago, this summer sometime. This one is Lucy Calcott. There's 2 Lucy Calcotts. I think this is the 1826. And yes, it's supposed to be blank up there. It's a big one, Lucy Calcott. By Just Stitching Along. Yes. Love that one. That was a finish this year. So when this is all done, I'll roll these back up. I do have a project roll. This was gifted to me by Faye Rigsby, kindly. That was a little overwhelming. I have another one here, but I think those are most of my samplers. This is a project bag I made. Oh, there's a few in here. This is the Snooty Parrot sampler. This is one I finished this year. This was my January stitch. I'm already starting to think about what my January stitch, because I usually in January I work on one sampler. I start it and hopefully finish it, but I don't always finish it. Sometimes I go into February, but I always work on it till it's finished. So it's my January 1st start. And this is Snooty Parrots by Barbara Anna. What is this one? Anne Topley by the Scarlet House. Yeah, that's the right side. I love that guy. See him? He's cute. This one is black. Why can't I remember blackbirds? Oh, joyous day. Welcome spring. That was the other one. Something about welcoming spring. I think this is Oh, joyous day. Yes, because Alma did this for her son, for his, and this isn't a reproduction. It's an original blackbird. She did it for her son when he got married, and she had their initials over one above the house, and I switched to just put my own initials, and I added a bird to the chimney. Oh, joyous day by Blackbird. Love those flowers. Beautiful. Jane Baxter. And this is with the Country Sampler conversion. If you call them and get the threads from them, they will give you the conversion. It's much more muted. And this one is by Victorian Rose Needle Arts, just down the road. This one is the Peace and Goodwill sampler by Chessie and Me. I chose not to put, there was some over one, and I just put Peace and Goodwill. I think I wanted to hurry and get it framed for Christmas a couple years ago. I need a loan the size of the national debt to get these all framed. This is All Joys for Thine by Blackbird. Some of these have just a little wrinkle. They must have been in this project roll wrinkled, so hopefully you can see them, even though they have a little. I'll have to smooth them out better when I put them back in. Winter is Past, also by Blackbird. I need to trim this because there's a good chunk of linen I could use on the side of this. Winter is Past by Blackbird. Cece and Me by Scarlet House. Or Keisha. Some people said it was Keisha, some people said Cece. I have my nephew's wife is from Denmark, and she's like, I would just call it Cece. So I don't know. This one I did years ago, and I really need to have it framed. This is the Needleworker's Sampler by Brenda Gervais. Look at it's full of threads where it's raveled. Needleworker's Sampler. This was one of the first things I did on 40 count. This has been probably like 2015. I don't know, it's old. This is just called Peace on Earth. It's by Blackbird. It's one of their Christmas ones. Love the checkered house. This is Jane Stanwix. Who's this by? Chessie and Me, maybe? Jane Stanwix. No, she did Martha Davies. Who did Jane Stanwix? Maybe Scarlet House? I'm sorry. I have to look that one up. I don't remember. Most of them I remember. This is just Samplers by Scarlet House. This is in Blackbird book called something, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, maybe? And there's a couple of Easter ones in here. I'll pass on showing you those. I'm not sure the name of this one. It's a Christmas piece from Samplers Not Forgotten, I think. Or Samplers Remembered, one of them. It was a kit that I got a couple years ago from Country Sampler. So that's some of my, well, that's a lot of what needs to be framed. So hopefully someday they will be. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the retreat. So if you're not interested, it's fine. You can just move on to the next floss tube person. And by the way, I do want to recommend a new floss tuber. I've watched both of her first ones. Her name is Karen, and she is the recovering monogamous stitcher. Let me see if I can find that on, so I can show you. The recovering monogamous stitcher. Oops, the glare. There's her first one, and there's her second one. Very good. She's a quilter. She's got some great finishes and great projects. She's the recovering monogamous stitcher. So, okay, the retreat. Oh, and speaking of retreats, one more thing, public service announcement. I got this from Lisa Prims on Greenway, and I told her I would promote it in my last, or I would talk about it in my last, I don't do promotions, in my last video, and I completely forgot. So this is a Primitive Needle Arts Premier Retreat. It's put on by, well, it's through Hobby House that you register, and it's Hobby House, Prims on Greenway, the Woolen Needle, Under the Woolen Willow, sorry, not the Woolen Needle, scratch that, erase, Michelle from the Under the Woolen Willow, and Hobby House. And it is going to be in October in upstate New York. So if you're interested, go to Hobby House and sign up for that retreat. Maggie Bononomy is going to be one of the designers. Kathy Barrick, Beth Seal, Summers House Stitchworks, Teresa Miller, Teresa's Primitive Treasures, Leon Van Leyen, 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers, and a special guest lecturer is Susan Stanley. So sign up for that. Okay, first of all, we got these bags. I had one from last year, and I actually used it as my tote bag on the airplane. But Cross Stitch Extravaganza, put on by Quilter Station in Lee Summit, Missouri. My brother used to live really close to Lee Summit, so I had been to this store a number of times before. Cross Stitch Extravaganza. And she's put on quilt retreats for quite a while. So in that bag, we got a number of things. We got this little needle book. Okay, do you know how dumb I am? I will tell you how dumb I am. There's a zipper here, okay? Never dawned on me, you know, I'm thinking it's, I don't know what I thought. So I go by somebody's table and I said, oh, that's cute. Did you make that? And they said, no, we all got one. It was in the canvas bag. Okay. Guess I'm observant. So we got this. We got all kinds of stuff. There's floss tags people put by my, you know, there was just a lot of stuff. So I'm not going to name everything everybody gave me because I would certainly miss somebody and I don't want to do that. So I mean, I have buku floss rings. I have a little bling for scissors. I got a crochet coaster. I don't want to mess up. So the first designer, I put this in here backwards, so just a second here. The first designer was Linda Lautenschlager from Chessie and Me, and she gave us a project bag. And I did not start any of these projects. This is the project. Love it. It's a housewife. We got the wool, the linen, and the threads to make that. And because the scissors have this little fob you can make, and so she gave us extra floss so that we could do the cording. And then she had the little windy tool, which I have at home, but there were so many people going around doing it that I thought, okay, I'm gonna get mine done. So I got the floss that we made into the cording. So I got that, got the linen, the threads. There were 150 people at this retreat. So for a designer to provide all this was really cool. Got the wool. And there were some people, there was always projects that you could work on that were kind of a portion of the big project. So some people were working on the fob here. Very cool. So that was the first designer. Where am I gonna put this stuff? Linda. That was Thursday afternoon. So the retreat started Thursday about 3. I flew in on Wednesday and my friend Kay picked me up. We went to Maggie Bonanami's shop in Lexington, Missouri, which was very fun. And then, so then the retreat started Thursday. I'm kind of disjointed, I'm sorry. Just hang on and maybe you can follow me. I just got all these gifts. It's just crazy. Then on Friday morning, the first designer, oh shoot, where's my Blackbird stuff? Oh, here it is. Okay, the first designer on Friday morning was Liz Matthews. I put this in reverse order on my side here. And we got a bag of goodies from Liz. I love this sampler. This is called a vanity sampler, and that's the name of it. She named it a vanity sampler. She had the model with her. I remember Kitten Stitcher, Teresa Vanette, talking about vanity samplers on one of her floss tubes. Evidently, okay, let's say you have this gal that's a beautiful needle artist, but she's homely and she's not attractive and there's no men that are courting her. So when she gets to a certain age, this is her sampler she made. And it says she did this when she was 11 years old in 1850. Okay, so now it's 1860. And no, wait, let's say it's 1870. So it's 20 years past when she did the vanity or did the sampler, and she was 11. So anybody that does a little bit of math can figure out she's now 31. So in order to attract a suitor that would not think she was already an old maid, she would rip out the linen where it had the year she made it and her age. So that's why it's called vanity, because she's vain. She doesn't want everybody to know how old she is. But I love the sampler, and it would be very easy to just put my vanity sampler, Carol, age 71. So we got that. And then she gave us all the goodies to make one of these little pillows. So these are elements that are taken from the sampler that we could stitch. And some people were so good to actually start stitching on, the piece. She also gave us fiber fill to put inside the little pillows that we might make. I didn't want to bring it home because I have tons of that, so I gave it to a friend. She also gave away a lot of raffles with raffle tickets. I didn't win anything. But she gave us buttons, thread drops, these cards, and we just got a lot of little extra goodies. So that was Liz Matthews. And then her mom, Kathy Barrick, was in the afternoon. Hold on here. So Kathy gave us this box. So I had her sign my box, and she said, "What's the date?" And I said, September 9th, all day. So she wrote September 9th, all day. So in this box was full of tools because her feature project were these hands. So we got the chart to stitch either one. We didn't get linen or anything, but we got the threads to stitch that. And then her project was about, I give you my hand. So you could do a paper hand, and she gave us paper to use. And of course it was all tied up nice, like with this, I give you my hand. Or you could do a wool, and she gives you instructions on how to blanket stitch the wool. And so then we got wool because, let's see, is there a picture? Yeah, see all the wool? They look like gloves, all the wool pieces around the frame pieces. We got something to put on the back to the label. Then we got scissors, pencil, ruler, needles, X-Acto knife. We just got all kinds of little goodies and tools in the box. So there were quite a few people that were working on the hand of the wool. It looks like a glove. That we're working on that. I chose to wait till I get home. I'm just not good at starting things like that at a retreat. So that was Friday. Let me see if I can put this away a little bit. Ooh, this is gonna be a long video. Whew. Everybody says, oh, we don't mind long videos. But then when I look at the analytics of my, it's like people watch it like 20 minutes and then move on. It's like, okay. I'm sure there's some of you who watch to the end, so bless you. Then the next day was Alma from Blackbird, and we got, first of all, she gave out, and she's been doing this, so she's been giving out old loose feathers patterns. So we each had this. I've actually stitched this already. Love it. So that one I'm going to be passing on to a friend. And then this was the project, Moments of Glad Grace. I love it. She took elements from a reproduction or a antique sampler, mainly this bird. She just loved that bird. So we got all the goodies, threads, everything. And then the small project was to do this with the bird, and she even gave us the paper mache box. And we got floss tags that had that bird on there. She always ties it with a piece of greenery and a silk ribbon. And the piece that we got, the linen we got with that was 36 count Legacy by Picture This Plus. And it was interesting. And she did this, I remember, last September too. She had some Aida with her. So if people wanted to stitch the piece on Aida, she traded it out with the linen, which I thought was extremely kind and generous. This is a gift I got. It's one of those thread bed with blackbird fabric. And this was gifted to me by Roxanne and Shirley, which was very kind. There's a little pocket. Love it. Just so many kind things that people gave. Oh, I forgot. So that was Saturday. Friday night, Lois from Lady Dot Creates came, and she gave a talk, talked about how she got into all the dyeing and everything. And this is the project she gave us for this black velveteen pumpkin, complete with a pumpkin stem. Very cool. So that was the surprise guest. Alma was Saturday morning. And then, hold on here. If I don't put some of these things away, it's gonna be disastrous. Lots of good crinkling. So then our last designer was Teresa Kogut. She gave us a box. I didn't even open mine yet. She gave us the pattern for Pernici. I think she pronounced it Pernici Manor. Pernici is, I think she said it's the Italian or the French word for pelican? I don't know. Pheasant. It's one of those birds. So the red house, the trees, I love this piece. And it came complete with, oh, I guess I did open mine. For a while I hadn't opened it. She gave us the floss, all the flosses in the, with the pattern. One of her cards, sticker, a very nice needle minder. And then the second pattern she gave us was this, which is elements from the sampler. And it all came wrapped in tissue in this box. And she made sure we knew she didn't pick this color for the inside the box. It was supposed to be this color. So it was a great retreat. Lots of great interactions with people. I got to meet Melissa Gay, who is famous because she's one of Nicola's friends, and she's done a lot of videos when Nicola's from Hands Across the Sea is in America, and it was just a joy. The whole thing was just a joy. I just really enjoyed it. So I didn't get a whole lot at Culture Station because A, I have a lot, and B, but I did get this piece of, well, I got this pattern by Kathy Barrick. I had never seen, I'm gonna take it out. It's called Sarah Hughes 1821. I had never seen this sampler. I love this. The colors, everything. Adam and Eve. I told somebody, this is like my husband and me, because he's tall and thin, and I'm more short and round. So that's us. Isn't that pretty? And it is called Sarah Hughes, 1821, by Kathy Barrick. I'd never seen this pattern. There's lots of patterns I haven't seen, so that in and of itself is not. And then I found a piece of this Winter Wren by Fox and Rabbit. Not sure why that sticker's there. Oh, somebody was giving out stickers. And I put it on this so that I could put it in my book of days. Yeah. Because I knew it would peel off of plastic. If I put it on paper, I didn't know if it would peel off. So anyway, I thought that would be a good choice for that. I asked Kathy Barrick, she said I might have to go a little darker on some of the greens and blues, but she thought that would work. The only other thing I got, which was predictable. My sister and I went to Quilter Station on our way to the Country Sampler Retreat in June, and my sister bought this kit, the same kit. It's called The Big House, the quilt kit by Quilter Station. It's actually designed by Rita, the owner. And I said, if you decide you don't want that, I'll buy it from you. She said, oh no, I want this. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna make it. Okay. Well, it's haunted me since June. I thought I had the pattern, so I thought, well, I'll just go home, see if I have the pattern. I thought I had the pattern. I didn't have the pattern. So when I went back, they still had one, and I was like, okay. And I had a gift certificate from my sister for a birthday, and so I got this kit. I love this, The Big House. And I'm hoping I can make it so that it fits above my couch. The fabrics are all gorgeous. So I got that, and then in the mail yesterday I got my Stacy Nash club piece from Country Sampler. I don't know if they'll have more of these, but you could always try. It's called the Big Blue House Pin Keep Drum. It's the third in the series. So I think that's everything. I have a mess around me. I always try to clean up before my husband comes in and does his part, but I don't want to put it away too much just in case this didn't take, and if it didn't take, I will be crying. We used to say to my son, there's no crying in baseball, when he was like 5. There's no crying in floss tube. Maybe. Okay, that is all I have to say. I hope you're all well and that you are participating in Sampler September. I need to do some posts because I haven't, and that's the whole idea of the hashtag. So if you're doing a reproduction, it's September Sampler Soiree. Hashtag September Sampler Soiree. If you're doing a more modern sampler, then it's just hashtag September Sampler. So I hope you're all well. I'm doing this on Friday because tomorrow we're getting together for my birthday with the family, and in the morning Elijah has a baseball game. So anyway, hope you all doing well. I will see you in a couple weeks. Hopefully I might do a quilt video in between now and then. We'll just see. It'll be all on mini quilts. I have one book that was a giveaway that I've already drawn a name for, and then another book, and both of these are by Red Crinoline. Paula Barnes sent me another book to give away. So just be watching for another quilt video. It would be quilt video number 4 sometime in the next 2 weeks. So I hope you all doing well. Love ya. Bye.